Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wild Earth this morning, and we're about to head out on our safari. Beautiful Monday morning, clear skies. In fact, it's so clear the sun's already very bright. I'm starting to feel a bit of warmth from it. It is a little bit chilly. My name is Mark. Daniel is with me on camera, and Tara is back in final control. She's going to be guiding us from that end and sending through questions that hopefully are going to come through from you, the viewers, from all over the world. Beautiful morning in Djuma Game Reserve. I might have said that already. It's even got that Monday morning feel. No fancy skies, no wonderful things to see on the weekend. It's back to business. Monday morning. Got that feel that there's traffic building up somewhere. I know there is. There's an Impala Ram way ahead of us. Beautiful light coming through the trees. I think we've really got to enjoy this morning light like this on the greenery, because it's not going to last long. This cold spell that we're having now, of course the rain that we've had makes things a lot cooler, and this cold spell is going to start turning leaves. Combination of the cold weather and the shorter days, the trees are going to start reacting and withdrawing their nutrients from their leaves, storing it in their roots, and we're going to start seeing a bit of a color change. Nothing as dramatic as Japan or Europe or the likes of the Adirondacks and the Hudson River and some of the places in the world where you get those beautiful colors in autumn. We sort of have yellows and browns. And, well, the Mopani Veld up north in the Timavati, that sort of goes some beautiful reds and oranges. But we're going to see what changes there are as we're driving through the next couple of weeks. We're going to watch some of the things changing. For now, let's see what we can find in this morning light. I think I'm just going to go across the open area and then we'll go back towards Buyatela Access Road and head up towards Sandy Patch. Sandy Patch, and then maybe to the Firebreak and Buffalo Cut Line. See what movement of animals there have been. We can pick this up. Let's just see if we can get an Impala Ram in this early. No, it's just, I think, too bright perhaps to get a picture of a ram. Unless we close the iris heavily. I was thinking the one directly in the sun. And as I was saying, it's probably just a little bit too bright. Somehow the camera can never really see what the eye can see. What's that noise? Just the vehicle moaning and groaning. Metal parts warming up. Okay. I wish my eye was a camera, because a camera can never see what my eye can see. I wrote that once upon a time. The beginning of an ode to an eye, or my eye, or eyes. Gonna be a bright, sunshiny day. Look overhead, there's nothing but blue skies. The parrots, wherever you are, you've flown away. Let's use this light, go west a little ways. That's the light behind us. Always hyena tracks in the morning. They were a bit active last night. I heard them during the night, but nothing extraordinary. Just the typical whooping calls that they call to locate each other, to remind each other, or rather to tell each other where they are and what, more or less what they're doing. I wonder where our other cats are. The big ones with the littlies. Now the impala that I saw when I said good morning to you was lying down. He's standing up looking down this way. There was something here. Actually he's looking off to the left. Morning stations, anyone out on drive yet? I guess not.
Morning, mobile station, we got update.
Morning Ephraim, I'm not sure if anyone's out yet. I'm going to head up to Upwetela Access Road towards Sandy Patch.
We got the day, but yeah, I lost another year after my daughter was apparently this morning, but at 3:24 o'clock was in Ghana, everywhere. I'm not sure exactly where is it.
Okay, copied. I'll have a look. I'm going to get up to Biffles of Cut Line from Sandy Patch. I'll have a look around there.
Yeah, I'm on my meeting call for rather on Sandy Patch. I was just trying to put around there. And it was just up and down there for those terminals. Check those doors. So it's part of that door. When the car is over the okay, so yeah, I was trying to get up to your end. So I can look at this around like
Morning, Anne. In Edmonton, Alberta. Anne wants to know if we get any bird-eating spiders here. Well, Anne, our equivalent, I guess, of the South American bird-eating spider, which is a tarantula, our equivalent is a baboon spider. And I can't really say that they are specifically bird-eating. They are free-range hunting spiders. I guess if they found a bird, something on the ground, a hatchling perhaps, I guess there might be a chance that they would take it. They're capable of eating small birds. Not that these small birds do constitute a large part of it, or even a small part of their diet. I would say that they're capable of eating one. Then there are sorry, I'm just looking at big tracks there from big male leopard. It's just after the rain the other day. The big golden orbs are known to snare birds and eat them. Small finch type birds like waxbills and firefinches. Texan come in? Wrong radio, sorry. Right radio. Texan come in? I think he did go to... Well, he's saying he was on Sandy Patch already. Well, let's have a look. Maybe we'll do Aubrey's Road. I was about to go to Gallagher shortcut. They're going to do a lot of lion tracks up near Sandy Patch. Let's do Aubrey's Road. Yes, I know. Otherwise not answering me. Well, leopard's big been here and he's got leopard dung in the road. He's left a calling card. Oh, maybe be an idea to go back the other way. If Texan and company are already in the west, let's go to Gallagher shortcut. might have cut through here to get it. Oh, sorry, Franklin. Run out into the road like that. Morning, dove. Excuse me.
I'm up to Karula for junction with the Karula moving down towards Croc.
Okay, well done, Brad. Coming.
Karula coming down.
Yeah, this is what's the road? Television card or public road?
Where you know?
Yeah, public side. Take someone up on the side.
Come along, the system.
Coming out.
Section come in. Did you do Voya's access?
Yes, come along the power lines in the public to Karula. Yeah, I just come halfway from Center, and there was running photo from there.
And I see where power line comes out onto Voya's access. There's my timber for Engwe. It's quite fresh there. Can I join you there? There's a leopard in the road. Section come in. I got Engwe visual. Can I join you? Karula and the babies. She's smelling that leopard dung that I was just looking at just now. If we just move off the side of the road, she might come this way. She's smelling that leopard that we've just been looking at, that leopard dung. Morning. In fact, as she comes closer to us, I'm going to try and reverse. No wonder it's so dark. Beautiful way to start a morning, start a week. Welcome to Wild Earth Safari, everybody. This is the Queen of Djuma herself with her littlies. I wonder what went through her head smelling that dung on the road. Okay, I'm gonna get to Zoe's road and give her space. Beautiful light. This is the perfect light to have for leopard and her babies. Morning, Karula. Pretty girl. Come this way, children. I'm gonna call them. They want to go on that road, Karula. That's the little boy. Morning, all. Hey, Manjad. Wow, that's just so beautiful. And that'll be right. So it could be Dad's around. Could be that Dad was here. I wonder. Let's go long way round. She might go out up onto the open area. So let's just take this long way round. There are 2 vehicles down there right now. It takes. I'm just going around onto quarantine and come around the other way. Ooh. See which way she's moving. She might even head down into the lodge and we might have to move on. She might come out here. She might go down to the dam. Get another view of her coming down the road towards us. Might be difficult with the vehicles behind her. I noticed a few people have asked why we turn the camera away when there's a vehicle, and it's a legal obligation. We are not allowed to show people unless we have their permission. That's a standard broadcasting thing. You'll find that with a lot of TV broadcasts as well. But yeah, mostly because we don't really want to be showing people that might not want to be shown. And we would have to get Normally it's written permission. People have to sign a release that they don't mind being on camera. It's a different matter if one is taking photographs for private reasons. What have they done? They're in the way. They're between Karula and the cubs now. So she's waiting for them to catch up. And I think he's in a situation where he can't move now because he's got cubs behind him and Karula in front. She's waiting patiently. Morning, Zach. No, unfortunately, no names yet for the cubs. I know it's getting on in time, and Mission and Duna were named at a much younger age. I will be talking to the guides. We'll see if we can't. I don't know. We'll see. I'll chat to the guides at Vuyatela and see what they have to say about it. Two naughty children. Diego? No, I'm not, Ephraim. Sorry. I'm gonna move. Okay. I'm not closing the road. I'm far away, Ephraim. Ephraim, I'm still Kashan, folks. Okay, let me move and see if it changes things. Might do. Sorry, Daniel. Ephraim saying that I'm closing the road, but see if that makes any difference. I'm not even on the road. It almost looked as though the cubs saw something and they started running towards it. Cubs are playing in trees. Morning, Sandy. Sandy's asking if a male leopard came across the cubs, other than the father, would he, like lion, kill them or be a threat to them? Very much so, Sandy. Very much so. One of the main predators of leopard is other leopard. I don't understand sometimes. I really don't. Morning, Ephraim. I didn't. I only got here.
Oh, see, where's from that side?
Yeah, with the Mampimpan.
Maybe they young chuma they don't go home sometimes or drive. He's chasing the yard this side.
Did you come Gallagher shortcut?
Yes, we go to that side.
Come, little one, go to your mother. Impala have been snorting behind us. They've obviously seen her already. Little one, not sure where mom and... Who's that? That little boy, I think. Morning. Wow. So, Sandy, I mean, despite the fact that lion do kill leopard cubs, hyena will kill leopard cubs, I think one of the main predators of leopard themselves are other leopards. And there was a time last year, in fact, that time when we were having a lot of cat deaths here in the Sabi Sand, the Majingulans and the Mapokos were fighting. And she's just going off into the bush, just off of the road, actually heading down towards our camp. Now, there was a time when several lion were killed by other lion, and it was the same week that I was just through, actually cutting through to Weirtella Staff Village. But it was the same week that there were a number of leopard deaths at the hands of other leopards. And I think at this stage of the game, the greatest threat to these cubs would be other leopard, because they couldn't...
Come back for this thing. We're just going to give Jadwal a chance.
Okay, Ephraim, I'm also going to pull out of this lock.
Thank you very much, Mark. Then what's your response from there?
I think I'll go and check Aubrey's Road.
Okay, copy. After the inbound, come in that side also.
Okay, copied. They've gone down towards Staff Village. So I'm going to go up and have a look. A lot of lion, a lot of... buffalo tracks up towards Sandy Patch heading east, but they didn't get to Gallagher shortcut, so we're going to go and have a look on we're going to have a look on Aubrey's Road. Afshin, enjoy. Family kule. And then go around towards Star Village. Ephraim is still there. Morning, gents. Morning, Nikki.
So busy around here. I just want to get home.
So, where was I? Yes. Young leopards. I'm not going to get away from an adult male leopard very easily. And as I say, yeah, probably the biggest danger to them would be a big male leopard that's not their father. As to what Mishu and Induna would do, I don't know. I would imagine that Karula would defend them. I would imagine that Karula would be pretty harsh towards Mishu or Induna. She would keep them at bay. I think they would be more curious than anything else. I don't think it would come down to them feeling competitive or feeling that they would need to eliminate competition. I think it would be interesting to see any interaction between Karula and her boys and see what they would do if confronted with each other. I don't think there would be any tenderness. I don't think there would, I don't know. Very difficult to say. The possibility that they'd greet each other quite tenderly, rub against each other, rub chins. The way cats do when they meet each other or greet. But it could be that they might just glare at each other and bare teeth and hiss and accept each other's company but not get that close. Difficult to say. It would be very interesting to be able to witness something like that. Okay, so far, neither cat nor buffalo tracks here. Let's take a ride up towards cut line and have a look up there. Aubrey's Road. Nobody's even been here since the rain a couple of nights ago, so it's a clean road as far as tyre tracks are concerned. So far it's fairly clean as far as animal tracks as well. Hasn't been anything moving here since the rain as yet. francolins. Here's an interesting question. Morning, Ronnie. Referring to a comment that I said a male leopard wouldn't kill his own cubs. Ronnie's asking, how would he recognize his own cubs? Well, Ronnie, for one thing, oh, look at that just quickly while I'm talking. That's spike thorn in full bloom here on our left. Mother's Day flowers. Wish I could send the scent through with them. Ronnie, the male leopard would know the female, and he by association, but also he would smell them. He would know from the fact that they would be within his territory. He would have, by the time they start moving around, he would have smelt their presence. He would have smelt their urine, their dung. He would have smelt them, their presence within his territory. When he's moving around and he moves over any area where he has been, he would he would know that the female that's within his territory, that are essentially his females, he would just know these things. And of course, once he meets them for the first time, then of course he would recognize them visually. But before he even does recognize them visually, he would know their scent, I'm sure. Really beautiful confetti bush, bride's confetti bush. Matinus, one of the spike thorns. When all those little white, tiny little white flowers, when they all start falling, it's like confetti. There's still another plant called bride's bush that's different. Pavetta, I think it is. I think the pavetta is known as the bride's bush, I'm not sure. I might be wrong. That's just a name that came to mind that my brain kind of linked to bride's bush. Let's see what my book says. Tara saying she thought it was the Dombea. I don't know the Dombea as a bride's bush, but it could, I guess, be considered on account of its beautiful blooms. Now the Dombea rotundifolia. The first beautiful flowering tree in the spring would be the wild pear, Dombea rotundifolia. So, common names. Bride's bush, common bride's bush, large leaved, so we're on 406, 408. Pavetta, yes, it is the Pavetta. Pavetta gardeniafolia is the other one known as bride. I think the spike thorn is more known as confetti, bride's confetti, and then the pavetta is known as bride's bush. Smelling fresh elephant dung. There are some fresh branches broken, and there was an elephant track. Still elephant tracks now. Any plants that what, sorry? Any plants that can harm humans nearby. Morning, Tim. With the plants. Yes, there are perhaps a number of plants here that can harm humans. Now, we've got quite a lot of fresh leaf activity here. It's gone the other way. Or rather, the tracks have gone the other way. So have the elephants. Seem to have gone. Oh. Hello. Now I should have known that this marula tree was down. But that's from other elephant from a few days ago. Let's see if we can get around it. We're not going to get over it. We're not going to get under it. We're not going to get through it. We have to go around it. Long way around by the looks of things. I should have remembered this because Ruan was here a couple of days ago. saw that marula tree down. I'm gonna have to, I reckon I just have to or divert the road around it. Maybe they'll just chop it up. There has been a vehicle that has taken this detour already. Quite a long detour because it's difficult to get back to the road. Quite dense here, vegetation wise. So let's have a look. We're not in an area where there is tambuti. Now the tambuti tree is probably one of the most notorious trees here in the bushveld. More elephant dung and tracks. But I think they've headed south. There were tracks of youngsters and family group heading south just on the other side of that fallen tree. The tambuti for several reasons. The tambuti is wood. Well, there's a lovely the latex, the milky latex that the tambuti has a lovely scent to it when it burns, almost a lavender type of smell, and can be used for an insect repellent. When you find a piece of tambuti and you burn it and then blow the flame out so that you just have a smouldering coal, you can use that almost, it's like an incense come insect repellent in the summer to keep mosquitoes away. Just as effective as burning it or smouldering it, dried elephant dung, which is also a fairly pleasant smell, I might add. It might put people off because it's dung, but elephant dung is so rich, it is mostly plant matter. Like 70% of it is still in its original form. But that smoke can be toxic. So if you're cooking on firewood that you've collected from the bush and you manage to somehow get a piece of tambuti onto your fire, you can become quite sick from cooking in the smoke of the tambuti. Getting that milk, that latex on your hands from the leaves, well, any part of the plant that is broken will exude this milky latex. And getting that on your hands and ingesting that can be toxic. Not fatal, but toxic. Can make one sick. There is a plant here that has a similar effect like to that of a stinging nettle. There's another marula tree down. This big elephant was busy. Now back home in the Timbabati, I've got only a handful of knobthorns and marulas left over the last 20 to 30 years of elephants doing this. Just switching off to listen. No, nothing. Another plant, I'll see if I can find one for you. It's known as deadly nightshade. It's potato family. Scientific name Solanum. Different types of Solanum that one can get. And some of them are not toxic, but there's a type of Solanum that we have here that can kill. It's known as deadly nightshade. In fact, there should be some fruits. It's also known as poison apple. And Ellen, if you're with us, I did find a monkey orange and I didn't bring it. I'll give it to Tara to bring on PM Safari if it's still in the workshop. But I found one in elephant dung the other day that I wanted to show everyone. Ellen was asking a couple of times to find a monkey orange, the fruit of the monkey orange. Now the fruit itself, the flesh of the monkey orange, to my knowledge, is not poisonous. However, the seed is. And the seed contains strychnine. Occasionally in some of the disturbed areas we get a plant known as the castor oil bush, Ricinus. It's not an indigenous plant. It's an alien. It's an invasive species, and it is highly poisonous. In fact, in recent times, here's some lion tracks. In recent times, there's been a couple of scares of ricin powder being found. Now, the seed of the castor oil bush crushed gives you ricin, R-I-C-I-N. That's derived from the name of the plant, ricinus. And as far as I know, ricin is very hard to detect in the body as a cause of death. I've got to show you this. It is such a clear day that we can actually see the cliffs of the mountains in the distance, and it's very unusual to see. It almost brings them closer. The air is so clear it almost looks like the mountains are just 20 or 30 kilometers away, but in fact they are, that is probably at least 80 kilometers. It's got to be 50 miles at least. It's a little bit too hazy, I think, to see it clearly through the camera. But you can almost see those cliff faces just under the crown of that mountain, part of the Drakensberg mountain. Lichen covered cliffs of oranges and pale greens and lime greens, and they really are the most beautiful colors, those granite cliffs. Can you get that bit of dead tree on the right? Yeah. This would be a nice spot if the sun was setting exactly there. It would be awesome. Where the mountain dips to the right, that's where the Blind River Canyon is. Okay, let's continue. There are some lion tracks around. And what else? I'm sure there are a number of other... What is that? What is that? What is that? It's impala. My heart took a slight leap there. I thought maybe it was a cat. Morning, impala. Obviously no cats here. Radio's not copying you, Tara, I'm afraid. There's been a male lion. I wonder who that could have been. Apologies if there's a bit of pickup. Bachelor herd of cats. Not be too close. Pile are so spread out. That's where the buffalo went. Leopard track. Now, news that there was actually safari here in Japanese Dam a couple of days ago. Safari the leopard. I just remembered now. I should have mentioned it on Fireside Chat last night. But it was actually Safari who was here. There we go. Just a hint of a lion track in the sand. Kind of cutting through. Oh, carry on. I know that Ephraim's going to come up. He'll probably take a look up on Biffle's Hook. See if they're on north of us, but that track coming east might be the same one that I saw going west on the fire break. There it is again, still going east. We'll see when we get up to the sign at the junction. See it going west again. East and west. Cats can't make up their mind, but that's quite typical of cats. I guess, yeah, they were sleeping in the road not long ago. You can smell the urine too. Looked like cat was lying down and didn't even get up to urinate. They came from the east, I think. Fresh elephant dung means that the elephant might have actually chased the cats off. But my guess is they've gone west and then maybe south from the gate. Who knows, or back into Manuleti. I'll tell Ephraim and he'll go and follow up on it. Let's see if they might. just to let you know, Tara, I didn't copy any of your previous transmissions down there where we were. Very difficult radio signal. Morning, Linda. And Linda was asking if the mountain serves home to any of the animals. It's a very difficult question to answer, Linda. The park ends not far from us, not very far west of us. And from here all the way through to the mountains is rural area, human habitation, farmlands, agricultural lands, some private reserves that are self-contained. So yes, still in the low-lying areas below the mountains there are still some private reserves, but they're self-contained reserves. They're not part of the greater Kruger area like we are. But once you get closer to the mountain, that's all agricultural area. That's where there's citrus, mango, a lot of mango plantations, a couple of corn plantations that they are making biofuels with, and a lot of game farms, a lot of areas that are self-contained game farms. So below the mountains, yes, to some degree there are a lot of animals. I mean, there's the Blyde River and the Olifants River, both of them home to a lot of hippo and crocodiles. There's up on the top of the mountain there's not much. There are game farms, but they're not big reserves. They're small privately owned game farms that might mostly have antelope and things. And of course there's a great leopard population up there in the mountains. But I'm not too, I can't quite get what you're asking in terms of the animals here. Animals here don't go to the mountains. They can't get to the mountains. The edge of the reserve is not, as I say, not very far west of us. There are towns and cities between here and the mountains. So the animals can't be allowed to roam freely on that part of the world. That's why there is a western fence to the Kruger National Park to prevent the animals from getting out and causing havoc with human habitat. What's the word? Civil areas that are inhabited. Rural villages and towns. But in some of the smaller self-contained reserves, they can't have things like elephant and rhino. You need big areas for those animals. Ephraim, come in. Ephraim, come in. Okay. Texan, you still with Karula?
Yes, sir.
Where's she now?
That's what I mean. That's the junction. Entrance in the morning.
Okay, copy. Is Ephraim still there?
Yeah, he said he connected with us. I was trying to call him. I'm sure he's trying.
Beautiful white-crowned shrike in the sun. One flew out of the sun right next to us. There's still one up there that maybe. It's a social species of shrike. They live in little family groups. Mom and dad and some of the older kids helping with the younger kids. Very pretty little shrike. Well, they're not so little actually, they're quite bulky. He's a bit puffed up this morning in the cold, sitting in the sun trying to warm up. You know, it's quite difficult for white birds to stay as healthy as darker birds. White feathers attract mites, feather mites, a lot more than the dark birds. And the white feathers are also more susceptible to... Oh, there's a giraffe in the road. Just come into the road. Sounds like Karula's back out onto the road, the access to the lodge. So I think let's make our way back there and see if we can follow her for a little bit. Check the squeak. Morning, Susie. Thanks for your question about Karula and Safari. Susie wants to know if Safari has a relationship with the cubs and would she kill the cubs if she came across them. Does she have a relationship with Karula? You know, Susie, in all the time that I've been here, I've never seen Safari with the cubs, but there was a time when before Mission and Duna were born. So I'm going to quickly just answer this question and then I've got to check under the wheel because there's a stone or something caught that's making a squeaking noise. But Susie, I would imagine that I don't imagine she would kill the cubs, but I would imagine that she would be aware of... Okay. I would imagine she would be aware of Karula and that she would know the cubs are Karula's. I know that there was a time with Saseka and Tingana that she was seen with them. In fact, there was a time, I believe, that Karula actually left the cubs with Safari and went off and did some hunting or something. Possibly. That's all I can say. Possibly. There's probably a stone caught in the cowling on the brake pad. The brake. There's a metal cowling on the brake disc that has been bent and it's scraping on the brake disc for some reason.
Mark, you need a hand?
No, I just need the right tools. I will see if that might help. I have bent it a little bit, but it's going to need a little bit more work than that. I'll need to put it over the pit at the workshop to get to it and work on it properly, or just take the wheel off. But it's like a dust cover that protects the actual brake disc itself, and it's bent onto the brake disc and touching the metal, and it's squeaking. Well, I haven't done any off-road this morning, so I'm not guilty. We'll see. So far it sounds okay. I don't think Safari would kill the cubs. I don't know whether there was any time when she interacted with Mission Induna the way she did with the second Tingana, but I would guess, I'll just hazard a guess and say that I think she would recognize them as Karulas, and that, especially if Karula was with them, of course. Hard to say, especially since I don't know Safari. I can't say that I've ever watched her. I've seen her crossing a road once at night briefly, and I didn't have a spotlight or anything. It was just in my headlights, and once she was off the road I couldn't see her anymore, so I couldn't tell you. Joanne, the shrike was a white-crowned shrike. Not to be confused with the white helmet shrike, which I think is now called the great-crowned helmet shrike, or the white, I don't know. It's called the white-crested helmeted shrike. Helmet shrike, as opposed to crown. Well, got confusing. I guess that's why they changed the name. Because there was the crown shrike, or the white crown shrike, and the white helmet shrike. And the helmet shrike was a double-barreled name. It's not that it was a white helmeted or helmet. The helmet shrikes, you get the red-billed helmet shrike, which is now known as the Retz's helmet shrike. Names. Still a very wet area on this shortcut back to Gallagher shortcut. A lot of seepage. Sorry. Elizabeth, wanting to know if interaction of the cubs will be different because they're opposite sexes as they grow older. I don't know, Elizabeth. Another one of those things we'll have to wait and see. You can get two different sets of cubs that are opposite sexes and they will behave differently towards each other. It's all about individual characters and personalities more than anything else. Big warthog dung. Quite a big warthog here. So I don't know if there will be that much difference in their interaction and behavior towards each other as much as, how can I put it? I think it'd be more about their different characters than about their different sexes. I don't think one can really, one can't really say. We're going to have to wait and see. The beauty of us being able to watch them grow up is to be able to try and interpret or view the different behavior traits that these cubs will have that might be different to the way Mishun and Duna were. And there's some common features and there's some common things that it doesn't matter whether they're male or female. The way they were running after or behind Karula, playing with each other, pouncing on each other, that kind of thing, that doesn't matter whether they're male or female, they will still do that. That is the nature of leopard cubs. Honing their skills, developing the necessary muscles to hunt. Sorry? Thought you heard elephant. They did come this way from Aubrey's Road somehow, so there might be some here somewhere. Morning, Deborah. Morning, Roller. Shouting at something. Excuse me a sec. The lion made their way to Triple M. Texan, where did you leave Karula? Tex Mark, where did you leave Karula? Okay, thanks. So she's actually around the lodge in the staff village. I don't know if we'll try and find her. Let's see if we can get hold of her again. But she's in and out of the lodge, makes it difficult for us to actually get to some of the places where she might be with the cubs. Oh, who knows? Interesting. Go and have a look. See if we can find her. Deborah was asking about baboons, leopards. Do these animals grow thicker fur in winter? They do get a thicker undercoat of fur. I think a lot of the animals do. I couldn't tell you which ones, and I couldn't tell you much about it. You know, it's difficult when you don't ever have physical contact with animals different times of the year. It's very difficult to answer a question like that because I've never had physical contact. I suppose I could check things, times of kills and things to see if there's anything. But as far as I know, yes, there would be a thicker undercoat of fur that comes out from the predators, the way maybe dogs and cats do. Not too sure about the antelope. Right, so let's see, there are tracks all over the place here of cars. Let's see, take a ride down towards the lodge. Have a look. So it would be nice to maybe stay with her for a bit. If we can find her. Take a look past Yuri's house, where that wildebeest kill was. Too many birds here. The squirrel, not really concerned about anything. Baboons are here. Karula wouldn't be here if the baboons were here. She wouldn't bring her cubs close by. What's he feeding on that big male? They have caused so much trouble recently. These primates. I know somebody did ask about, I think it was Tim even, asked about this fence the other day. This is just a fence that surrounds the owner's house. That bent fence post just behind the baboon is where that wildebeest was chased into the fence and killed by the lion. I think they're eating marula nuts. I'm not really fond of being with fences. Whoops. The baboon are just a little too quiet for Karula to be anywhere near here. And maybe in a little while, if I can't find her, let's see if we can locate that carcass. Probably nothing left of it. It'd be nice to maybe have a look if we can see the skull and I can show you something. Maybe she's gone down towards the dam. Once again, road that we don't normally use. It's not really a road that is a game drive road. This is just a service road to get to the back of the lodge. I've been here with elephant before. I've been here with lion, walking through the camp. We followed leopard through here the other day. And we're just going to sneak through once again, just in case she's down in the front. I don't think so. I think the baboon might have seen her if she did come down this way. But we can try. Guinea fowl, too calm. She didn't come down this way, so we're going to go back towards the lodge. Maybe look in the car park. Is that Spark? That looks like a really small crocodile. We'll come back to the dam. Maybe we've got even a second crocodile here now, but there was a crocodile down there that looked, I just saw its mouth, looked a lot smaller than the croc that we've been seeing. Drongo. Something. Never ceases to amaze me how a leopard can feel so comfortable bringing her youngsters into or around humans like this. And there were times that Karula would actually leave Mission in Duna, almost as though, well, we'll leave the humans to babysit for me and I'll go off and hunt. As though there's less likelihood that other predators and other danger are going to befall the cubs because they're amongst humans. What we're doing now is we're actually driving into the lodge. This is how guests approach Vuatela in Djuma Game Reserve. They come into the lodge along this little track. And this is the first impression, as you're seeing it now, is the first impression that people have of the lodge. And this lovely mosaic work that is done by the owner, Pippa Moolman. And these are, we'll be seeing these in flower. In fact, when they're in flower, we'll have to come back and have a look. But these beautiful plants on my right are known as impala lilies, also known as a desert rose or a sabi star, Adenium multiflorum. Vanilla Ingwe. Vanilla Ingwe. Ingwe. Vanilla. We call Kule. Yeah, somewhere here. Okay, thanks. in the car park. Seems all of the self-drive guests have all gone. None of the guests. We've got guests park their cars here. Oh look, let me show you quickly while we're here in the car park. Here's the blue plumbago, or this lovely lilac coloured plumbago. I can hear any alarm calls, but I'm not hearing any. Oops. Okay. Strelitzias. A lot of aloes. Cindy, if you're watching, I've got something else to show you. There's this long, thin, really sharp-looking plant ahead of us. Not the aloes, but this other one. The long, round, finger-like spike. That's a type of Sansevieria. I'm just trying to remember which Sansevieria it is. Yeah, I know Cindy enjoys her Sansevierias. Mother-in-law's tongue. Oops. It's long and it's hard and it's sharp. This is the pathway staff use to get back up to the village. The pathway we walk if we come down to the lodge. We walked past Induna here a couple of times coming down to dinner. She's not on that pathway. Aha. Franklin. Mind the tree stumps. Penny wants to know about the Wall of Remembrance. Penny, I don't even know where that is. I'll have to find out where it is. Penny is asking about the Wall of Remembrance of a lot of in the early days of the camera and things, people who were avid viewers who had passed on. I think that's the wall that Penny's talking about. I'm not sure even where it is. I must find out for you, Penny, and we'll do that. If Penny wants to take the camera off and have a look at that, I will do that one of these days. Maybe we'll do it behind the scenes if I can find out about it. But I have to be honest, I haven't seen it. Well, it looks like she's elsewhere. Maybe she's gone down through the lodge to the dam. Maybe she's gone up onto quarantine. Maybe she's somewhere in the thick stuff and we can't see her. Maybe we just have to give up. Yeah, I saw that. Hi Sandy, asking about markings on the cubs. Are there any pictures to identify them? Tara did actually do a very nice blog the other day. If you have a look at our blog.wildearthsafari.tv, one of the older blogs, I know I meant to have put up a blog already about a couple of things. I haven't finished writing the one. I don't know, what writer's block. Not that I could call myself a writer, but I just hit a mental block after a bit of after the weekend. Sandy was asking if there are any markings that are identifiable. As I say, have a look at the blog. Tara has shown some pictures with some arrows, red and blue arrows, showing some of the markings on the left side of the face as well as the front of the face. Hi Penny. Talking about the plaque on the fence leading up to the lodge. Penny, I reckon they've taken it down because there is definitely nothing there leading into the lodge on the fence. Not seeing anything here now. No skull, no bones. Skull and crossbones. Nancy wants to know if the father of the leopard cubs would protect them. Well, I think yes, in some ways he would, Nancy. He would protect his territory and in so doing protect the cubs. Excuse me a sec. Oh, that's not good news. All those male lions that we saw seem to be maybe the Machinga lions that have come in. And it sounds like they're chasing those lionesses and cubs west. So the tracks that we saw were Machinga lions that had come up to Biffles or Cut Line and somehow must have gotten wind of the lionesses and cubs. The law of the... What I'm just looking at here, strange, this is where the wildebeest kill was, tucked under this tree. And these are the wing feathers, and I'm thinking that this is that the ground scraper thrush, maybe, that was here. Unless it's maybe a buffalo weaver. I don't know, it's really intriguing. But a bird was killed where the wildebeest was being eaten. Not a scrap here, there's nothing, absolutely nothing. And then while I was sniffing around, or scratching around looking, some impala going crazy, but it's just rams chasing each other. A lot of rams chasing each other up on the open area. Oh. Let's take a little look further. I suppose these cats could have dragged this kill somewhere else. Hyena must have been here, stripping, pulling the carcass to pieces. But I would expect there'd still be a head somewhere. Maybe under this marula tree. I do remember seeing one of the females under this tree at some point. Fursoma. New person in JTV, I think. Wanting to know what kind of monkeys we have here. Well, apart from the baboons that are close by, there are vervet monkeys. V-E-R-V-E-T. Vervet monkeys. They're one of the most common monkeys in southern Africa. And we have a nocturnal primate known as the bush baby or lesser galago. There is another species of bush baby, the greater galago or thick-tailed galago, but we don't have them here. They occur on the main rivers like the Sabi and the Sand rivers, where there are large fig trees, larger trees, denser riparian vegetation. Okay, I think we can come back here in a little while. I don't think, maybe one day we'll come across that wildebeest skull. But for now, not much happening here on open area. Just impalas chasing each other around in the rutting season. Bachelor group of impalas, and they're all just trying to sort out their hierarchy. So we'll take a ride down to Gowrie Dam. We're going to see if that crocodile isn't perhaps a different one. It looked smaller to the monster that's been here. Big waterbuck bull in front of us, the resident bull. Oh, yeah, they all are. Hello, children. Here I am looking ahead of us, and we've got the whole herd next to us. Fluffy children. Four females, 3 youngsters. 5 females, 3 youngsters. You see the tail of that calf drinking on the left there. Moving into the bush. Let's just roll forward a little bit. That's quite a new calf there. Not a small one. Pretty little thing. Just its little rump sticking up. And there are going to be about half a dozen little bee eaters here. I can see 2 of them that's on the right hand side. Sorry Daniel, I'm probably chasing you with camera, but just on the right here on that dead tree, there's only 1 left now. But there's several of them flying around catching insects. And there's the little bee eater. Very pretty little birds. Bee eaters. Quite amazing birds, all the bee eaters. They have the ability to eat things like wasps and bees. able to shake the sting out, beat it against the branch. They are pretty much immune to the in this, their throats are immune to the stings. And in the road, no, they've gone. We had 2 ground scraper thrushes in the road. I'm going to roll forward now. The waterbuck are not too happy. They've moved off because there's an impala misbehaving. I'm not going to roll anyway. Just yet. There, the ground scrapers in the road now. Elegant little birds. Maybe the feathers are not ground scraper thrush. Black with white in the wing, probably buffalo weaver. Morning, Gail. Wanting to know why quarantine is called quarantine. Good question. Comes from a long time ago, when this was a self-contained reserve. Why it is called Djuma Game Reserve, because it was once its own property, not linked or open up to the Great Asabi Sand or the Kruger. And they imported animals. They reintroduced animals that had been, I guess you could say, animals that no longer occurred here that once did. And when you translocate animals, you can't just let them go in a new area. You have to keep them in what we call bomas. You have to keep them in fairly small enclosed areas so that they can acclimatize to the sounds and smells and the new area that they're going to be going into. And it would be called a quarantine area. So that is why that is still called quarantine. I guess because the angle I was looking at the crocodile, but it is still the same old. It looks plastic in this light. Yeah. Egyptian goose. Somebody must have spent all night polishing that crocodile. And then they sneak out here just before daylight and put it on the edge. Batteries might be flat at the moment because it seems to be stuck in one position. Or maybe the radio controlled thing isn't working. Was that a baboon I just heard? I wonder. Yes. Karula's made an appearance. Time to go back. Flies, please, not today. I'm not fly food today. Let's go back. It's not quite winter yet, but we've got this cold southerly wind coming in. Oh, Tim, I was talking about the solanum. There's quite a bit of it here. We were talking about poisonous plants earlier. This is it here. There we go. Can you see this fruit? Big baboon is shouting, let's get up there and have a look. But that is the deadly nightshade. It is the same family as the aubergine and the potato, but not to be mistaken for potato bush, which is different. I think the tomato, even the tomato is related. So although this is quite poisonous, there are members of the family that are quite edible. Wrong channel, Tara. Hello, Jody. New Mexico. Now I noticed that Vicky, there's also a Vicky in New Mexico, so I wonder if the two of you are close by or family. But Jody wants to know if I think the croc will overwinter here, and if not, where will he go? I think there's a good chance with the dam the way it is. I think there's a good chance croc might stay here for the winter. Good pickings around Gari Dam, the likes of Impala, Nyala. Might not go for waterbuck. Who knows? The young waterbuck are small enough, fluffy little things. If not, it might go back down south, eventually find its way to the Sand River. Might be that's where he came from. I believe there are some other big dams in the area, and it's possible that croc might go to some of those very big dams. One of those big dams up in Buffelshoek. I've never seen them, but I know that they are there. Apparently the kahumas and cubs, all cubs, have been found on Simbambili, west of us, and they're all fine. That's always good news to hear, something like that. Now, Baboon are not making too much noise. It was just one or two barks, which means that they had a glimpse and that they're not too threatened by Karula. They're back in the tree though, looking towards the lodge. Looking that way. Ow. Okay, we're gonna try one more time. Just one more time, once more. I can just see one of these primates. Can't see any of these baboons now. Do you see any of them? I have no choice but to go close to the house. I don't really like it, but failure to find anything, we're just going to move on. Oh. There's the big male going back in. It was him that was barking, so he saw something here. Excuse me, thrush. We're still looking down towards the lodge. Oh well, we'll leave it be. Maybe this afternoon there'll be a better chance for Tara to find one of them. Well, find her and the cub. Shouting at us or not? Confusing me, primate. Maybe she's not even down at the lodge. Maybe she's already over the other side of the ridge on the open area. So we'll go make our way over. interesting that the wildebeest have vacated the open area as well. So this is the open area called Quarantine. I have to be honest, I'm not really fond of the name, but I didn't name it. Nothing I can do about it. I prefer just referring to it as the open area near camp. Saves the confusion. I think a lot of people are curious. So I'm grateful for the question this morning as to why it's called Quarantine. It has nothing to do with quarantining animals now, or disease, or any of that sort of thing. Didn't copy that, I'm afraid. Divas. They saw the Kahuma lionesses and cubs somewhere on Simbambili, which is west of us. And yes, evidently they are safe for now. Karula, a little Karula. Some of them standing on a bit of a ridge looking, but they are not concerned. But we've seen in the past, in fact, in the last couple of days, we've seen how Karula can be oblivious to the presence of a leopard until that last fatal moment. See if we can get more than a couple of 100 yards away from camp now. Find something else. Preferably something big and grey. Felicia, I think. Question: how often do crocodiles move from one body of water to another? That's not really a question I can answer. It's not really. Crocs don't usually move from. It's a very difficult question to answer because most of the time crocs don't. Most of the time crocodiles are in rivers. These are man-made dams, so it depends on the circumstances, depends on what we're talking about. I mean, I don't want to give an answer and then you must understand that answer and take that answer for all crocodiles. When you're in a situation where there's a river and there are crocodiles, the males sort themselves out in territories and they'll practically live there all their lives. But this is different. This is some semi-artificial, I guess you could say, because these are man-made dams. These dams were put in when these properties were self-contained properties, and they had, in fact, there was even some places cattle. They tried to farm in these areas, and to accommodate their cattle, they built these dams. Or if they had game, they accommodated they built the dams to provide water for the game, because the game could no longer move to places like the Sand River or the Sabi River, some of the permanent water areas. There will always be little mud wallows and pans that fill up in the summer months, but in the dry season it would be necessary for animals to move to the more permanent waters. And that's why a lot of these properties, every single property in fact, has got its own little dam. And there's no frequency to the movement of crocodiles, because some of the dams, depending on the rainfall, some of the dams will hold water all year and some of the dams won't. It depends on the rainfall entirely as to how frequent the rains, or rather how heavy the wet season is and whether it fills the dams or not. But even then, that's not a guarantee that a crocodile is going to stay. So I can't really say there's any frequency to it. There's no answer that I can give that would say that I would be satisfied with in knowing that just that I would give you an answer. Where one crocodile might move frequently, another crocodile won't. It's not a gosh, how can I put it? It's not a frequent enough event that you could draw a conclusion from it and give a definitive answer to a question like that, I'm afraid. This crocodile might move today, it might move next week, it might stay here for 3 months, and it might never do this kind of, never have this kind of behavior out of it again in the rest of the days of Djuma Game Reserve. To be able to say, well, the crocodile comes back regularly at a certain time, a certain interval, and that it moves at a certain time. I believe prior to quite a serious drought in 2008, maybe 2007, 2008, sometime then that Gari Dam dried up completely. When I arrived here in December of 2008, after the winter of 2008, there wasn't even a mud bowl at the bottom of Gari Dam. It was dry, it was grass. The impala were feeding in the middle, below the dam wall where the deepest part would be. There were impala grazing there. And before the dam dried up, there was evidently a crocodile here at the dam. Whether it's the same one, I have no idea. So I think one could say it depends on the rainfall and the level of water in the dam and other dams. Whether these rivers flow for longer periods than normal to allow crocodiles to move along them. I wish I could give a better answer. I really do. Is a stick being dragged by a vehicle, or is it drag marks? It looks like a stick being dragged by a vehicle. Sometimes sticks get caught under a vehicle and they can look like drag marks. A little bit too regular. A drag mark from an animal dragging its prey has a slight S shape to it as the animal walks and its prey moves between its legs. This mark is very regular at a very distinct distance from the wheel. We're on Twin Dams Road. I think we'll just head down towards Twin Dams. Cold wind. You saw all those waterbuck lying down. Or the impala lying down. I think a number of animals are going to be finding shelter from this cold wind that's blowing. See these hyena tracks. Let's see, look at buffalo. I thought there might have been leopard with those hyena tracks. No, that's the hyena, but there's hyena on the left, right on the edge of the road. But I thought there was further back, maybe it was just a toe that wasn't showing anything else, just a toe, a round toe print. Patch of hard ground with one little patch of soft sand. Hello Susie. Susie wants to see the hyena den. Okay, we'll see. I'm sure we've got a bit of time to do that. We'll go up to Weaver's Nest and back towards the hyena den. Maybe end off there. No, I'm not copying a thing now. Beautiful Twin Dams. To wait till we get back to Weaver's Nest to get some more of these questions. I love this dam full and all these water lilies. I'd say it's probably my favorite dam, this little Twin Dams area. And now that it's so full, well, all the water lilies. Those water lilies have probably been underground for years, their roots. Well, certainly since I've been here, and of course there was the drought, well, that drought period in 2008, wouldn't have been enough water, and since then this dam hasn't been as high as it is now for these water lilies to have been able to grow. They're all sort of on the high water mark. Going to have a look at some tracks around Baboon Pan. Glimpse at the road both ways. Whoa! Erosion after these heavy rains this year is quite bad. As soon as it seems to be over, the wet season, I'm sure the roads will start getting fixed. A lot of hyena tracks here. There's a tail mark from the crocodile that's been up and down, but it's not fresh. This one. No. Wow. He was reaching up there. Big torchwood. Okay. I thought it was where that big jackalberry was on the other side of the dam. I don't know. Balanites. I used to have a couple of Balanites bonsais from seed that I brought back from Mana pools in Zimbabwe. Used to have. Morning, Susie. Susie Cook. How do we get our questions? Have I got a screen next to me? No, Susie. It all goes to what we call final control, which is our main office back at Vuyatela Lodge. Well, it's behind Vuyatela Lodge, not at the lodge. And that is when we talk about somebody being in FC, like today Tara is in FC, FC being final control. Tara has the computer, it's the main broadcast computer, that's where everything gets broadcast from. And she has our email inbox open on the computer, and she whispers in my ear through this little earpiece that I have in my ear. She will send a question through to me. And then that's how I get it. But no, we wouldn't be able to get internet on the vehicle. The way we drive around, we're out in the middle of the bush. I guess there are ways that you could do it, but it would be extremely expensive to keep an internet link open driving around. It would have to be something like a 3G connection. And that would cost a lot of money to be connected for 3 hours. But also, I think it would probably be difficult for me to... I don't know how the police do it when the police have computers in their cars, but they're in cities and they have good mobile connections and things. We would have to be linked to a satellite, I suppose, to be able to do something like that. Hardly hear that, but I think I got the question. That was Susan. Do we have the plants here that cause floppy trunk syndrome in elephants? Susan, as far as I know, it was never established what plant it was that caused it. Maybe my information is old, quite a strong possibility that it is. That between, I think that was back in the late 80s, it was up in Zimbabwe. A lot of elephants were suffering from floppy trunk syndrome. There have been 1 or 2 incidents here in Kruger, as far as I know. Basically what it was a neurological syndrome that caused all the muscles in an elephant's trunk to become limp, and well, they just affected all the muscles in the trunk. Elephants could no longer use them, but they were still feeding and drinking with their mouths. Now, since those days back in the late 80s, when that was quite prevalent up in Zimbabwe, I don't believe. Well, I personally haven't come across any other information. I haven't personally seen any elephants that have been affected by the so-called floppy trunk syndrome in all my elephant experiences all over Africa. Must be a bird party here. So many birds flying away from us. Just going to make a detour past Treehouse Dam. Well, that's interesting. Deborah wanting to know if an elephant matriarch, speaking of which, here is an elephant matriarch. She's about to go to the dam. And there's another little boy. Maybe there's more at the water. Is she chasing him? I think she's pushing that little, don't know. Morning, madam. Hello, children. Seemed like she was trying to intimidate that young bull that just crossed the road. Maybe he's a young bull that's interested in one of her young females and she doesn't want him around. But the question was, is a matriarch ever pushed aside? Challenged, I guess, is the question. All these strongos. No, elephant society doesn't work that way. Elephant are very calm animals. They don't do those sorts of things. They don't chase away. Elephants don't force others out of a group. Even when it comes to young bulls, I will correct anybody out here, and I've heard it so many times, that the young bulls get forced out. They don't get forced out. There's never, in all my years of seeing elephants, have I seen a young bull being forced away from his family. He leaves of his own accord when he goes through puberty or after puberty. It's not that he leaves of his own accord, it's a gradual process that eventually he just drifts away from them. This is just too beautiful for words. Welcome to Wild Earth Safari, and a beautiful morning with incredible light, the last bit of green of summer, and a young group of elephants, a young family, small family. No, elephant matriarchs hold that position until they die, and it's only once they die that maybe their daughters will go off and become the matriarchs of their own herd. It's not as though one elephant then takes over that herd. It's then those daughters of hers then become their own matriarchs of their own offspring, so they might split from their sisters. And it's when we see all these when these big groups of elephant come together, these are these big extended families. In fact, this female and her 3 offspring now quite possibly have been with that big, when we were seeing all those elephants together, she was possibly amongst them, socializing with them, and now it's time to move off on her own and do her own thing. There is a young bull with her that's about the same age as the young bull that she was getting irritable with, and my guess is he's just not part of this family group, which is why she didn't want him around. So it wasn't, I really don't think that he was his family. I don't know where he went to. What? So the track? Yeah, big male. Is there anything in the mud somewhere? Let's see. suppose snorting because he saw me out of the vehicle. Let's go up towards Spum Road, see if we can follow this lady and her children. He's going to go onto the dam wall quickly though, to look down below the dam wall. Let's see if we can see there's another family group there. Say hello to the hippo. He might display for us, he's been doing that quite a bit recently. No, I'm not seeing any elephant down below. That other youngster's gone off somewhere. Not displaying today. Small ambient low of Trias Dam. There's a small ambient low of a Treehouse Dam. No, I'm on my way there now. What on earth? Can't hear you, Tara. Okay, what did John want me to find? A plant that produces soap. Hello, John. Okay, we'll do a couple actually. In fact, I learned of the new one with Ruan the other day. He was saying that where he comes from, the local people there use that hibiscus. Now, I didn't want to take the other road up to Philemon's cut line, so we're taking a bit of a long road round because a couple of guys were up on that road. Looks like maybe Henry and a couple of guys from Vuyatela. What they're doing is they're clearing a lot of the vegetation on the side of the road. So I don't want to go there. I think this elephant must have moved up west of the dam. She's in some thick bush. I can't see her. I do want to just get past the hyena then on the way home. So pity, I would have liked to spend a bit more time with that Ellie. A lot of elephant tracks here, so There might be a number of them around. Tara's task in the afternoon, finding Karula cubs and now elephants. So as I was saying, yes, Rowan was showing a type of hibiscus that after a lot of rubbing gets a little bit soapy. I know one that is used in this area that I've always known since a kid, that I've actually used in the Sabi River when I've used the Sabi River as a bathing place. When we were training guides back in the 80s, living rough, living in a little tented camp. We'd have guide training courses when we wanted to hire new guides at the lodge, and we'd stay there for a few weeks. The only place to wash was down on the Sabi River, and then again the only place to do that was amongst the rapids, where we were fairly certain there were no crocodiles. Well, I'm still here, so there were no crocodiles in the rapids. I've been in crocodile infested waters, and it's adrenaline pumping. It's one thing to be on foot when you're with elephant and lion and buffalo and these animals that have the potential to do you harm. It's an adrenaline rush. But the thing is that most of the time you can see them. When you're in crocodile infested waters and it's brown swirling massive flood and topsoil and debris, you can't see them. And you know they're there, and you know they're watching you. But yes, it wasn't through choice, it wasn't to be brave or to say, oh, look at me, I'm in crocodile infested waters. It was through necessity. Some very serious floods that occurred in the late 90s in the Sulu Game Reserve in East Africa. It's Tanzania, not Tanzania as a lot of South Africans may pronounce it. The Rufiji River, biggest river in East Africa, I think it's second only maybe to the Tana River. I'm not too sure which is bigger, the Rufiji or the Tana up in Kenya. But the Rufiji River in southern Tanzania breaks through the mountains and the gorge known as Stiegler's Gorge, and it suddenly hits relatively flat ground and virtually spreads out into almost like a delta type of situation with some huge lakes. Well, you know, there was one of those lakes that's probably about as big as Juma. And so it didn't take much to flood. Now, higher up through upstream in the river, beyond Stiegler's Gorge, there was a dam. And, well, obviously the sluice gates weren't maintained very well. And there was a time when they had to open the sluice after the flood. During the flood, they had to open the sluice gates, and then they were so rusted that they couldn't close them. So we just kept being flooded. Every time the water would recede, something would happen and we'd get flooded again. 5 times that water rose to the gutters of the staff's quarters, and then subsided to where we could then clean things out again. Okay, so I lost those elephants. If you could believe such a thing is possible, maybe because we went onto the dam wall and we looked at the hippo and I lost track of her, but she would have gone straight west of the dam, that area where I followed those rhino that one time, and we ended up leaving the vehicle stuck to its chassis in mud all night. But since we had a request to go past the hyena den, I think I'll just do that quickly because we only have a few minutes left. cold morning like this, I'm expecting, no, let's not say expecting, we don't want to use that word. I'm hoping that some of them might be lying out in the sun warming up a bit. I'm thinking that maybe there'll be 1 or 2 pieces of wildebeests around the den. Texan, are you with them PC yet? I haven't been here for a while. They're lucky. Cobus's dam up on Dan House's property. 4 cheetahs sitting on a termite mound. That's nice. Hello, Impala. You not quite in the lion's den, but brave girls. Just to the hyena den. But yes, getting back to that soapy plant, I think I get sidetracked so much. I sometimes forget whether I finished talking about something or not. But yes, the one that we have here is the devil's thorn, the one that I know. Interesting to know you can also use the hibiscus. One of the hibiscus species. Look at the spike thorn, just quickly. This is my flower of the day for the ladies. Now that we're so close to it and we've got the light. I should put a sprig of that in my room. Better than burning incense. I'm not seeing anybody out here at the den actually. Caddy, Guten Morgen, Heike. Wie geht's? Caddy wants to know if I have any of my bonsais here and could I do a show on them. No, yes, well yes, and then no. I brought one tree back from Cape Town once, showed you. It was a guest of mine on a fireside chat, but it was a there's a grey lurry here. Go away bird, must be eating these flowers. Go away birds do like to eat flowers. I brought one of them back last year when I went to Cape Town. This time when I went to Cape Town, I didn't get to bring any of them back, unfortunately. I've got a bonsai, a baobab, not quite a bonsai yet, it's a miniature baobab. It will be bonsai eventually. And I've got a few trees that I started growing from seed, so they're just saplings. So no, I couldn't do a show because I don't have any here to do that. It's just my little tambuti that almost died and it's not looking very good. But I managed to bring it back and it bounced back quite nicely. But from a collection of nearly 200 bonsai, I now have, I don't even think I got any of those left. When I was in Cape Town in February, I went to see some of them that had been taken to my brother's farm, but it was a very hot, dry summer in the Cape. 90% of them had died, even though they were in a greenhouse. no hyena here at the den. A couple of bone fragments around here, so they have been bringing bones back to the den. But nobody's here. They might be inside. The youngsters will probably be, the little ones will be inside. I'm wondering if they're not going to move den sites one of these days. Oh, I gave us a few minutes to sit here and look at hyena, but there aren't any. We'll go and find you a devil's thorn. So unfortunately, hiker, I couldn't bring any more on the show. I did have that Tambuti on a fireside chat with me, but it was very shy, as I say, didn't say much. That was just after I brought it back from Cape Town. I just recently was given 2 bonsai pots from a friend of mine, and I've got the 2 little coral trees that will go into those 2 pots. And as soon as winter's over, I'll try and make a trip back to Cape Town and see what I can save. I think, well, the bulk of my collection that was left with a chap to look after, I can't get hold of him anymore. He seems, the ones that he did take to my brothers, he seems to be all the saplings and the real trees he didn't deliver, and so I don't know how to find them and where they are. It's rather upsetting, 20 years of daily intensive care of trees. Maybe not 20 years, but in the last few years before I came back to the bush. A lot of time, money and effort into my trees. Most of them from seed that I've collected on walks in the bush, and I've germinated. And there's nowhere to bring them here. There's no way to bring them. There's nowhere to put them. I can't take them home. I live in a very, very dry area. I don't have the water for it. I don't have anyone to take care of them at home. They need daily care, and I guess it's my own fault that I've lost them in a way, because my lifestyle has changed in a way that I couldn't bring them, and I can't look after them, and I can't expect other people to do that for me. So I can't blame anyone but myself. JP gave us these. I don't know if we even have JP, Jean-Pierre, in Luxembourg. I don't even know if he watches us anymore. But he gave us some of those things. They're called the buff. It's incredibly warm around the neck. Must be a very fine weave. Now, who was it that was asking about a soapy plant? Was it John? I should have stopped in the dip. The hibiscus was in the dip, but as I say, I didn't know about the hibiscus. I'm going to show you a different one. Oh, big raptor. Yeah, quarantine, the open area. Texan, come in. Tex.
Mike, check is coming down the block.
Okay. No, PC car is quiet.
Okay, come take the book.
There's one flower there. Let's see if I can find more. Devil's thorn. Yeah, wow. Got one here. These Impala. Got to be careful of these Impala, they can gang up on you. No, only kidding. Quite harmless. Can you see this flower?
I think he scared me.
Is it too close to the vehicle?
Got it.
So that is known as the devil's thorn. I'm not seeing any thorns yet. I know there are a lot of the plants that have thorns, and I'll have to find you some elsewhere. You also get the devil's claw, which is similar, just a different genus. But this is known as Dicerocarium. Di meaning two, ceros meaning horn, and carium meaning seed. So it's a two-horn seed, and it has this flat seed that has two horns sticking up. That's why it's called devil's thorn. And this is my soap. I know for Ruan it was the hibiscus. For me, taking the leaves. And this one, it seemed like he had to do a lot of rubbing to get it all foamy. I mean, this is already... Here, listen to this. I haven't even had to rub it. You just got to wet it. It gets very slimy, but it's soapy. It's got the consistency of soap already without even really rubbing it hard. And I've used this as shampoo. This is a very small leaf of this one, probably because it got very dry. Yeah, let's get this closer.
Wow. Very slimy.
Very, yeah, and I feel that texture. You don't like slimy stuff. It's almost like you've blown your nose in your hand. I'll see if I can blow a bubble. No, I don't know if I will. No, it's not letting me get bubble. But yes, this is sorry, Ruan, my soap is better than your soap. And now
Do you want to...
it's soapy. It's not going to make dirt. It might look dirty. It'll just help wash out my shirt. This is not my Mishu shirt. Okay. Now I've got sticky hands because
Pour some water on your hand?
drying. I've had fun this morning. I hope you've had fun too, everyone. Let me just rinse off. It was wonderful starting with Karula. I'm really glad at least I got a glimpse of some elephant, but it was just really beautiful watching them drink in that light, and made my day. Put me in a nice mood for the rest of the day. An aeroplane. It's a bit early. Normally they only come in at about 11, 12. Caravan. Do you realize that you're disturbing me? I'm trying to say goodbye to viewers. My name is Mark. Daniel's been on camera and Tara's been in final control. This has been Wild Earth Safari for our morning safari on a Monday morning. I hope you all are going to have a great week, or for those of you going to bed, sleep well. And Tara will be with you for our PM safari, and I'll be back in final control. Thanks for joining me, and take care. Bye for now.